Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. Unfortunately, the world seems to be on a downward spiral since the infamous year of 2020. And with a recession seeming ever more possible, Dan and Lloyd are here to impart some business knowledge and set your minds at ease.
For really good businesses and businesses that do the right thing in this period, a recession could be a really good thing. A lot of businesses go out of business because it's really challenging, and therefore the best businesses survive and end up thriving more so than they would have done without a recession or an economic downturn.
And Lloyd reveals his best business tip for making your company recession-proof.
One thing we're definitely doing is diversifying markets. Even if, the whole world had an economic downturn, some countries will fare better than others. And the more that your customers are spread, the more you have that little kind of buffer of protection.
It's scary times for everyone, and we're all in this together. Just remember these tips next time you're worried about the future, and you'll be okay. Now, before we dive in, we'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors, Adobe Express, which allows you to quickly and easily create standout social graphics, logos, flyers, banners, and more for web and mobile. Click the link in the description to try Adobe Express today. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 113 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Lloyd, I'm concerned for our business. Energy prices are rising. The Bank of England has warned the UK will fall into recession as it raised interest rates by the most in 27 years. What on earth can we do to ensure we survive the recession?
I'm concerned you were reading that, Dan. It sounds so natural normally, but it seems like you might have read that question.
I might have read that question.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about 8 different things that we can do and every business can do to try and survive a recession.
I think this is really relevant right now, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. I think businesses are likely to need this stuff in the next few months. But to frame this positively, we spoke about reframing last week.
Mm-hmm.
For really good businesses and businesses that do the right thing in this period, a recession could be a really good thing. The unfortunate thing is a lot of businesses go out of business because it's really challenging, and therefore the best businesses survive and end up thriving more so than they would have done without a recession or an economic downturn. So I guess I'm kind of thinking, I have every confidence in our own business, and I'm thinking, I know we're doing the right things, and I know we're positioning ourselves to really do well throughout the next couple of years. So I'm thinking, do this stuff, treat it as a positive of, this is an opportunity. Obviously, we never hope that other businesses will go out of business, except our competitors. But yeah, the reality is it can be a positive if you do the right things.
I've seen lots of people talking about it being the biggest opportunity in a recession to thrive. As well as... Yeah,
there's the stats on more millionaires and billionaires are made in a recession. I don't necessarily think that's a great thing, but the reality is there are opportunities to grow, and there are lots of opportunities to grow faster than ever because less competition, different types of opportunities, and also when you are challenged, you find solutions for things, and without those challenges, maybe you wouldn't have changed things that make your business thrive in the future.
Because you can become complacent, can't you?
Yeah.
If everything's going well, like some businesses during COVID smashed it because everyone went online, but then they just they didn't take care of the rest of their business. So
exactly.
So are you concerned at all for our business with this recession looming? Are you concerned?
No, but not at all. But that doesn't mean we're not taking action, and I'm not taking action. I guess I'm not concerned because we are taking action already. And I think the first time, in one of our daily meetings I mentioned, it was probably about 6 months ago to our team. And I just said, just so you know, I think in the next 6 months to a year, there's going to be a recession, and it's going to be challenging. But I sort of said, we're aware of this. We're already doing things to make sure we're set up well for that. So, don't need to worry kind of thing. So,
so what are we doing? You mentioned there's 8 things.
Yes.
What are we doing that will help our listeners?
Do you want to know the 8 things then?
Yes, I do want to know the 8 things.
To be honest, this will be a good test. I don't know if we're doing all 8.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we'll see. I think we probably are.
Yeah.
So one thing we're definitely doing is diversifying markets. So if all of your customers are in the UK and the UK goes into recession, all of your customers, or most of your customers, will have less money, less likely to buy your products or services. If you have 50% of your customers in the UK and 50% in the Netherlands, and the UK goes into recession, but the Netherlands isn't hit as badly, half of your business has that protection around it of, a strong economy is supporting this. So obviously everyone's business is different, and this will be easier or harder depending on the type of business you have. But, for us, most people would think a creative agency out of a town called Manston. Never heard of that, have you? That's where we are. In the southeast of the UK, most people would think, well, you must I guess you work with some people in London and in your local area. Wrong. Okay.
Yeah, go on, Lloyd. Tell him.
UK. So this is currently UK, Ireland, USA, France, Israel, Australia.
That is pretty mental.
I think that's, at the moment, that's... Did I say USA?
Yeah,
that's what. Anyway, so just to show you, we are a business that isn't in a big city. We're not in London, Manchester, Birmingham, a city that you've heard of. We're in a remote location and we are working globally. It is much more possible than you think. And the reason I think it really protects you, like I said, so say we've got clients in those 6 or 7 countries I mentioned. Even if, the whole world had an economic downturn, some countries will fare better than others. And the more that your customers are spread, the more you have that little kind of buffer of protection. It's like, only 60% of my customers are struggling, or only 30%, or even if you're saying 90% of them are struggling, but you've got this 10% of people who are in Australia and their economy's fine, you can rely on that.
Can I share how we've done it? Just briefly.
Yep.
Just a point.
Yep.
Social media.
Social media has no boundaries.
Exactly. But if you think about it, all of these people in Australia, USA, Israel, France, all of these people have heard of us through social media, which is global. Mm-hmm. It's such a powerful tool to reach people all around the world. And if you're not using it, then you're missing a trick.
There's a massive conference next week in Las Vegas around insurance. And there's going to be a video playing that was shot in Minster, which is a small village down the road from where we are now. That's crazy, isn't it? And I just think whether even if you're not B2B and you're selling products, there are ways that you can sell internationally. It could be you partner with a distributor in different countries, or it could be that you sell direct. But I would just say it'd be a great thing to look into now. It's not too late. Like I said, if you have no one in different markets now, but you can get 5% by next year, or you can get 30%, it's always going to protect you and de-risk the situation.
I think it's funny that we're literally making videos for a company in Australia.
Yeah. Very annoying with the Zoom calls in different times, but it works.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, so carry on, Lloyd. That's one thing. Diversifying markets.
Going to use that word again, diversify. Diversifying revenue streams. So in a lot of businesses, they have different ways of making money. So some businesses, it's literally, we make money by doing this exact thing and there's nothing else. But a lot of businesses, there's a number of ways. So we provide a number of different services to our clients, and there's probably people that provide a number of different products. There's certain revenue streams that are going to be more vulnerable in recession. So things that people see as luxuries or premium items, if people are being more careful with their wallets, it's likely they might not buy them. People are going to be going from the Tesco, what's it, the good one that I never buy?
Finest?
Yeah, Dan has it, his house.
No, shopping Waitrose, mate.
So people are going to go from Tesco Finest to standard Tesco. They're going to go from the standard Tesco, if they're on that now, to the extra value. So things that are premium might not sell as well. But there's lots of examples like that. But again, for our business, so before the pandemic, Dan, do you want to guess how much of our turnover as a percentage was in-person training or event speaking around the world?
Oh, God, this is going to be interesting. A percentage.
So in the year before the first lockdown.
25%?
Oh, not bad. So 18% came from those things that we immediately got locked down and we couldn't get revenue from those anymore.
Interesting.
So 18% of our revenue gone.
Yes.
But we had 82... Yeah, that was correct. Doubted myself. 82% of our revenue that was still things we could deliver for our customers. So that meant we're okay and we could focus on those things. If we were a training company, we had just focused on that. Or if we just did public speaking at events around the world, and by we I mean you, because I was relying on you for that, that would be 100% of our revenue gone overnight. So if there are any ways that you can diversify your income streams, so from different products, different services, that will help protect you, but also looking into it and thinking which of my revenue streams might be vulnerable to a recession. So obviously things we had to travel were vulnerable in a pandemic. What could be vulnerable? And I guess placing less focus on those in your marketing and more focus on things where you think, actually, no matter what happens with the economy, people are still going to need this thing that I provide. Can you put more focus on that for the next year or so?
I guess my only sort of devil's advocate thought on that is, with us, we charge a premium investment fee because we offer a premium service and we've got data to back up the results we achieve. Because there's a recession looming, we're not suddenly saying that we're going to cut that and do offers and cut the premium thing we're offering. So I just wouldn't want everyone listening to think, oh, I charge a premium for this thing I offer, but because there's a recession, I'm going to not do my premium. I don't know, I'm wrong.
But I'm not saying to cut prices, but it depends who is buying those things as well. So I wouldn't market premium stuff to businesses or industries that are going to be cutting their marketing budgets, because it doesn't make any sense. But we will continue to market to those industries that we know won't cut their marketing budgets, and will invest in marketing.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not saying cut your prices. Yeah. I'm saying just look at what could be vulnerable and focus on the things that are going to provide customers and revenue throughout a recession.
And there's an example. There's a guy called James Sinclair who has got multiple businesses and he's got a YouTube channel. Love watching his content. I think he's really good at diversifying his revenue streams. When you look at his behind the scenes series, like when the pandemic happened, he started all these new businesses, and I think just looking at what he's done, he's really good at coming up with new kind of revenue streams. So check him out. Yeah,
definitely. And another thing that he mentioned in a video recently, was the third thing: invest in marketing. So a lot of businesses, if they think budget's going to be tighter, recession's looming, they cut their marketing budget, which initially seems to make sense because, the business can still run. We're just cutting out that cost. But the more you look into it, the more it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's funny you'd say that as someone that runs a marketing agency.
You don't need to invest in us. But no, this is something we're living by this. So don't worry, you can see that we're doing it too. But there's a lot of people go into cost saving mode, which to an extent makes sense. So you might be able to cut 10% of your costs. So in theory, you can cut 10% of your costs. I doubt very much you could cut more than that without making your business much worse than it currently is. But that only gives you a 10% buffer. So that means the best you can do is survive if you lose 10% of your customers or your income. So what if you lose 20% of your income? What are you going to do then? You can't cut any more costs. Whereas investing in marketing, you can get more revenue and more customers and you can increase that. That buffer could be 10% or 90% or 100%. There's an endless opportunity of more revenue and new customers you can find, whereas there's only a finite amount of cost saving that you can do.
I feel like this is what we did when the pandemic hit.
Yep.
We went on a number of walks to discuss what on earth we're going to do when it was all up in the air, and our end agreement from that was, right, we are going to go all in and work our asses off to be better at marketing than we've ever been. When we put loads of resource and time and energy into focusing on our marketing, and it made us grow the most we've ever grown in any period of running our business by doing that.
And we built our team through the pandemic rather than not investing in improving our people and our team and our services. And that meant now we've come out the other side. Our business is in such a better shape and in such a better position to make money.
It is a struggle though. Like I can understand why business owners will be looking at marketing as a cost and thinking, let's cut it. I guess like if they invest more,
but
then
you should only think of marketing as a cost if your marketing isn't working.
Yeah.
So probably do if you spend, it depends on the size of your business. Let's just say 10,000. If you spend £10,000 a month on marketing, and you're not getting more than 10,000 back, then fine, cut what you're doing there.
Yeah.
But spend 10,000 on something that will work. If you're spending money on marketing and it's bringing in revenue, then if you're cutting it, that's just a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
Cool.
Do you want another good point?
Yeah, go on. Give us another one.
So this is a bit different. So this is more about, not necessarily about making sure that our business thrived through a recession, but looking after our people. So the next point is focusing on being cautious and responsible. So we have a responsibility. We've given people jobs and we want to do our best to support them through a recession. It's going to be harder for everyone. It's going to be harder for us as business owners. It's going to be harder for our employees in and outside of work. So we need to do our best to support them. And I guess what I think we do here, and I would hope others do, is being just slightly more cautious. So say our business made £10,000 profit this year. If business is booming and everything, we might be like, God, let's take that £10,000 out, Dan. Yeah. Champagne all round. If you're looking at the future and it's not looking as good, it's like, hang on, £10,000 could pay someone's wages in 3 months.
Hold back the champers.
When we haven't got as many customers. It's like, let's pause on the champagne order.
Let's get Prosecco.
Let's take £1,000 out. Let's leave £9,000 there for a rainy day. And the likelihood is, if you're making sensible decisions like this and investing in your team and your people, that in reality, you'll be able to get that £9,000 out another day. It'll still be there because you're making the right decisions. But I think just, I suppose, counteracting my last thing of like, don't cut costs. It's kind of like, but still be cautious and make sensible decisions, knowing that things may be tougher over the next few months.
Cool.
So hold on the Champers and the Ferraris.
Yeah, because I think there is. We've spoken about this before. There is peaks and troughs throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
It's never a flat line of revenue. So you need to be saving for those rainy days. Not doing what we used to do, which is when we got a new customer on board, we would just like book holidays and stuff and celebrate. Yeah.
I realise my next point's basically the same one.
Oh, go
on. Just framed differently. Framing. The last episode.
Yeah.
Basically, make sure you have a cash buffer for hard times. So, so many businesses fail because of cash flow, even if they're making a profit. So a lot of people don't get their head around this because they think, well, if you're making money, why would you not have cash? But there are always things you have to pay for and money that comes in at different times. Why are you smirking?
I was just going to say, revenue's vanity, profit's sanity, cash is king.
Oh, is that a saying?
I think that's what people say.
Sounds pretty cool, Dan.
I'll spend the whole time not listening to what you were saying, just trying to remember what that was.
But yeah, so you're an example of this. Say we make £20,000 profits on a big project we deliver. Brilliant. If that customer doesn't pay or pays late on their final invoice, and we're still waiting to receive that. Yes, we've made £20,000 profit, but
We haven't got it.
until that's in the account, we haven't got it. So if you need £20,000 to pay your staff wages that month, the business has failed because that client's paid late. So having as big a cash buffer and sort of sorting out anything in advance of like any credit facilities for your business with a bank to make sure you're prepared for that.
Definitely don't do what we did at the start, which was invoicing everything on the last day of the month, even if it was delivered on the first of the month, and then giving 30-day payment terms, and then not chasing up unpaid invoices. Don't do that.
That means people pay you after 4 months.
Don't ever do that.
Don't do that.
That puts you in a crisis like we were.
And that leads us very much into my next point, which is a really exciting one, guys. It's tighten up on credit control.
Hey.
So what I mean by that is basically start now getting better at making sure you're getting paid on time and cash is coming into the business. So a few things to do here that I'd recommend that I've already seen having a massive effect on us. So I've only been doing this for a month, kind of improved it. Chase payment the day it becomes overdue. So don't think, oh, they haven't paid, I might get in touch with them next week. So now it's like, oh, our payment was due yesterday, what's happened? And now our clients know, oh, they're really on it with chasing payments. Send reminders about payments up front to kind of de-risk it being late. So a week before payment's due, just a reminder, payment's due in a week. The reality is businesses will go out of business in this recession just because their customers haven't paid on time. That will happen. I know this is less of a issue for businesses that are selling products direct to consumer because they usually pay up front. But for B2B businesses that the norm is to pay when you're invoiced after you've received the service or whatever, this will kill businesses because your customers are under more pressure. It's like, oh, we haven't got the cash yet, and it has a knock-on effect, and the businesses will fail. So
yes,
get ahead of that.
Credit control.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Talk to other business owners.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So I think, in my experience, a lot of helpful things when times are changing come from conversations with other businesses that I didn't know exist. So, for example, there are quite often like grants. There was one grant we got previously a couple of years ago, basically, so the government basically gave us money to invest. And it's because one of our clients went to meet them at an event and they said, oh, we've just got £3,000 through this thing. And you just fill out this form online and you get it. And I did it and we did. So, and that's only so all these other business owners are having similar issues to you in a recession, and they may have already found solutions that you can learn from. So I do think networking with other business owners or business leaders is more important than ever in a recession when you're quickly looking for solutions or for help or support, and they are as well, and they may have already found things that will be useful to you.
So you're suggesting go to weekly networking breakfast meetings?
No, not necessarily that. No.
Why not, Lloyd?
Because, well, we've experienced those in the early days, and it just leads to obesity and no income. Yeah. Because you just have fries every morning.
Episode 1 of our podcast, I think we spoke about this.
Yes.
But yeah, cool. That's a good one.
But yeah,
networking.
Yeah, other businesses may have found ways to save money, ideas on how to increase revenue stream, all the stuff I'm talking about. So do that.
Nice.
Do you want the final one?
Give us the final one.
Final point, guys.
This is all actually really useful stuff.
Good. No need to sound surprised. Final one, most important.
Yeah.
If you are a business leader or business owner.
Yes.
Or even if you're a manager in a department or you have any responsibility in business. De-stress by realising you can only control what you can control. So in all of the news and stuff at the moment, it's all about
doom and gloom.
Oh, bills are going to be so high and businesses are going to fail. Oh, it's all crap. Oh, there's another crap prime minister, if that's your opinion. And the reality is, very few of us can do anything about that, about what they're talking about.
So you're telling people not to vote?
I'm not getting into politics at all.
I'm joking. Go on, Lloyd, carry on.
No, I'm just saying, If your mental focus as a business leader or business owner is going into worrying about these things that you can't control, you are going to perform much better and be able to focus much less on the things that you actually have control of. So I would say your business is more likely to go out of business in a recession.
Battle, isn't it?
If you're just like, oh my God, all this crap's happening, and you're just worrying about what is the point? You can do absolutely nothing about that.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a very prominent position. I'm talking about most people. Whereas, we got these 2 customers who have paid late or haven't paid us. Put your effort into having conversations with them. Put your effort into trying to diversify your income. Put your effort into other good stuff Lloyd said. And I just think this is so important because it's so easy to fall into that thing of just worrying and that all you're focusing on that. And the reality, so... you said at the start of this podcast, are you worried about our business? And I said no. I think the reality is because if something crazy happens and there's literally nothing we can do, like say the whole world, the apocalypse, and like no one's investing in marketing because they're trying to survive, I know there's nothing I can do about that. Yeah. So I'm not going to worry.
Really good marketing though.
I'm not going to worry about that. And all of our team will understand if they lose their jobs, if they're like, oh yeah, everyone's just there's zombies running around and everyone's burning down each other's houses. They're not going to be like, Lloyd, you're out of order. You're going to be like, no.
You'll be calling him up saying you're late to work.
Yeah. So there's no point about worrying about that. And if you're dealing with the things that you can control, then there's nothing to worry about.
Something I've done that's helped with that in the last year, I've stopped listening to the news.
Do you know what?
And it's helped me.
That was going to be something I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like occasionally, personally, I think listen to the news. Give yourself a bit of perspective of what's happening in the world. But I've stopped. I used to listen to it every day on the way to work and on the way home. Same. And I realised I'm just hearing all this negative stuff over and over again, and it doesn't really help. So now, like once a week, I might listen to actually be a bit informed about what might be happening in the world. But yeah, I think that's really useful. Yeah,
cool.
And well, Dan, on that note, I've given you my 8 things. Are there any? Do you have any kind of useful resources or anywhere or tools or anything people could use to help them recession-proof?
Well, as you asked, Lloyd, Adobe Express have some amazing tools that you can use to design amazing assets for your social content. No, Adobe Express is genuinely good, and obviously the pod sponsors. But there's lots of resources. So a few things that we create. First of all, the Friday Club is our weekly newsletter that we share all of our best lessons and insights and tools and reports and studies that we learn from. We share in a weekly newsletter. Just Google the Friday Club, or it's on my LinkedIn. Listening to this podcast is another one that you should do because we share lots of useful stuff. There's another one in terms of marketing, Matt Navarra's Geek Out newsletter. If you want to keep up to date with all the latest changes in social so that you can use social media effectively to help promote those new revenue streams that Lloyd spoke about that you should be creating, then definitely sign up to Matt Navarra's email list because...
I would say someone we mentioned earlier, James Sinclair, follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's a really clever guy that owns a lot of different businesses.
And a nice guy.
Yeah, and a nice guy. And he talks a lot about kind of the current state of business and what he's doing within his businesses, and gives lots of really good advice.
And he texted me the other day.
Did he?
Yeah. I got a text saying, love what you're doing on TikTok. It was from him.
Oh, now we're on our podcast saying love what you're doing on everything in the world.
Yeah.
Good.
We did it. Well, I went up and met him a few years ago and he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got loads of great content. Cool.
A note that I had talking about tools to help, it relates to our don't listen to the news thing. I made a note, download Audible and listen to books that will help you rather than listening to news that will make you feel negative. Because in a year, say you've listened to 12 books, some could be for enjoyment just to de-stress, but some could be learning how to do better in your business. In a year's time, think of the better position you'll be in. Yeah.
Another thing I did a few years ago now, turn off almost all notifications on my phone. So
me too.
A lot of it used to be like notifications from social news and things like that was negative. Now I just look at it when I want to look at it.
I realised I forgot recently that that's not normal. Because for so long now, I only have notifications from a human's. So
Yeah.
I have notification from WhatsApp
Yep.
because that's a human trying to get in touch with
Mhm.
me, and obviously if your phone rings.
Mm.
But no other apps telling
Same.
me like do this stuff and
Mm.
read this news. And I just forgot recently that that's not
Yeah.
normal.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it really
Saves
is.
so much time in the day and feel
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good tips, Lloyd. Good episode.
Thanks.
I think this will be really useful to the listeners. And if you've enjoyed this, or if you think anyone will gain value from this, please do share Business Anchors with your friends, your family. Post about it on social. We'd really appreciate it, wouldn't we, Lloyd?
When anyone that you think this, I mean, this is very relevant what we've been talking about. Anyone that you think this could help, please share this episode. And any other input that you have on how we can recession-proof our businesses, please do let me know, because I'm doing that as well. So, yeah, that'll be great.
And where will we see them next week, Lloyd?
I reckon we'll see them in their ears next week.